Hey guys, it's Libby, and as you probably know by now, I'm in my parents' house. So since I'm sort of surrounded by the elements of my childhood, I thought I would share with you the books. I don't know if these are like my favorite books from my childhood, because I don't remember what kind of person I was when I was 5. I don't remember what kind of person I was last week. So these are just the books that when I looked through all of my old bookshelves of picture books, I was like, oh yeah, that book. I like that book. The first one is Trupp by Janelle Cannon. This is a bit of a strange book. It's about cat people. They're cats, but they're people-sized, and they are furry and white. And it's about this one cat who goes they live in the countryside, and he goes on an adventure to the inner city. And it's about how you shouldn't be scared of people in the inner city, because everyone's a people, even cats. Then we have a couple of fairy tale retellings. They are not just for YA audiences, they're for kids as well. You have probably heard of this one, it's quite famous. It's called The True Story of the Three Little Pigs. It's basically the story of the three little pigs as told by the wolf. And he is now in jail for murder. But, you know, really all he wanted was to go borrow a cup of sugar, and the mean pigs wouldn't give it to him. So he sneezed. He had a cold, and he sneezed, and he accidentally blew their houses down. Then we have Rumpelstiltskin's Daughter by Diane Stanley. It's about how fixing issues of wealth inequality are good for everyone, for kids. So basically it's the king has this sort of ridiculous Charles II wig going on. So this is, you know, 25 years after the events of the story Rumpelstiltskin, which we all know. Rumpelstiltskin now has a daughter, and I think the next king finds out that that Rumpelstiltskin Daughter can also weave straw into gold, and so he does the thing of locking her in a tower with a bunch of straw and a spinning wheel, and he comes in the next day and she hasn't done anything, and he gets very mad, and then she says, okay, here's an idea. So the real way to get gold is not to use magic to get it out of straw, but instead to give money to farmers who will then be able to grow this beautiful golden wheat. And this happens in a variety of ways. It's very clever, I like it. And then we have Sheep in Wolf's Clothing by Satoshi Kitamura. This is like a sort of noir story about sheep who, in this universe, they can just sort of take off their wool coats. So they take off their wool coats to go for a swim, and then their coats get stolen by some wolves. So they have to go like hire a detective, and then there's like maybe a mafia boss for kids, and they have to go get their wool coats back. Then we have The Paper Bag Princess by Robert Munsch, which is really just the best. It's about this princess. Her name is Elizabeth. My name is Elizabeth. I was not going by Libby at the time I read this book, so that just makes it even better. So it's about this princess living her normal princess life. She's betrothed to some prince. She has all her nice dresses, and then a dragon comes and burns down her castle and all of her nice clothes, so she can only wear a paper bag, and he also abducts her prince. So she puts on the paper bag and goes to win the prince back from the dragon, and she outsmarts the dragon and gets the prince back. And then he looks at her and he's like, you're gross. You're covered in a paper bag and your hair is all burned. You're not a princess. And then Elizabeth says, you know what? Fuck you. I just saved you, but I don't think I need you. Go live your own life. And then the last one is nonfiction. It's very big. This is called A Street Through Time, and it's written by Anne Millard, but there's not a lot of text, so it's mainly the illustrations by Steve Noon that you're looking at. This is just like illustrations of a street through time. It's set in England, so you know the plague and the Civil War, the English Civil War sort of feature in it. But some of it is generalizable to other cities, other countries. So So you've got like the Stone Age, and then, ooh, skipping forward a bit to the Vikings. And I really like how like you can tell that this is all the same place, because even in the Viking era, you still got the ruins of the Roman fort from earlier, and you've got the ancient stone circle, which is still standing. I always think it's cool to think of how time periods that we think of as old thought of time periods that were even older. So like, you know, it's easy to sort of condense all of history and be like, you know, the ancient Stone Age Celts and the Vikings, like that all happened pretty close to each other, but actually it was thousands and thousands of years apart. So there you have it, my recommendations for children's books. I hope you go check some of them out, and I'll see you guys later.